In the world of aviation, there are giants, machines so vast, so powerful, that they don't just fly, they reshape the very skies around them. Among them, one stands as a true titan, a behemoth that carries armies, tanks, and entire war machines across continents. The aircraft that embodies American strategic airlift, the Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. Today on Armory Unveiled, we dive deep into the story of this steel giant, from its conception during the Cold War to its decades of service, its record-breaking missions, and the modernization that ensures it remains the ultimate workhorse of global power projection. This is the untold story of the C-5 Galaxy. The story begins in the early 1960s. The Cold War was heating up, and the United States needed the ability to move massive amounts of men, tanks, and equipment anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. The Vietnam War highlighted a critical issue. America's heavy-lift aircraft, like the C-141 Starlifter, simply weren't enough. They couldn't transport the new generation of armored vehicles or helicopters in the numbers required for large-scale operations. So, in 1961, the U.S. Air Force issued the largest and most ambitious transport aircraft requirement in history. They demanded an airplane that could carry more than 250,000 pounds of cargo, travel intercontinental distances, and land on relatively short runways. This challenge pushed American aerospace companies to their limits. Lockheed, Boeing, and Douglas all submitted designs. The winner? Lockheed's massive new project, the C-5 Galaxy. Lockheed's engineers designed an aircraft so enormous that it dwarfed anything that had flown before. At 247 feet long and with a wingspan of 222 feet, it was larger than any military aircraft in history. But this wasn't just about size. The C-5 was revolutionary in concept. It introduced a nose that swings open upward, allowing vehicles to drive directly in, a rear loading ramp enabling simultaneous loading and unloading, and a unique kneeling landing gear system lowering the aircraft closer to the ground to simplify cargo loading. These innovations would set the standard for future heavy-lift aircraft around the world. Designing the C-5 Galaxy was an engineering challenge unlike any before it. The aircraft would be powered by 4 General Electric TF-39 turbofans, the world's first high-bypass turbofans. Each engine produced over 40,000 pounds of thrust, making the C-5 not only capable of lifting staggering weights, but also more fuel-efficient than earlier designs. Its landing gear was a marvel on its own. 28 wheels spread across 4 main bogies and 2 nose gears, designed to evenly distribute the aircraft's immense weight. The gear could rotate and kneel, allowing the C-5 to operate from runways other aircraft would struggle with. But perhaps its most defining feature was capacity. The C-5's cavernous cargo bay measures 121 feet long, 19 feet wide, and 13.5 feet high. In simple terms, it can carry 2 M1 Abrams main battle tanks, or 6 Apache helicopters, or even a complete Patriot missile battery. The C-5 was a machine that could carry an entire war inside it. Yet, this engineering marvel came with a price, both in dollars and reliability. Early models faced serious issues: structural cracks, cost overruns, and political controversy. By the early 1970s, the C-5 program was criticized as one of the most expensive defense projects in history. Still, despite the challenges, the Air Force knew one thing: the C-5 was irreplaceable. In 1970, the C-5 Galaxy officially entered service. Almost immediately, it proved its worth. During the later stages of the Vietnam War, the C-5 transported massive loads of equipment directly into Southeast Asia. In 1975, during Operation Baby Lift, the Galaxy carried thousands of Vietnamese orphans to safety in the United States. But the C-5's true purpose would be revealed during the Cold War: strategic deterrence. The Galaxy gave the U.S. the ability to deploy heavy forces anywhere on the globe within days, a capability the Soviet Union struggled to match. The C-5 was designed to support NATO, reinforcing Europe in case of a Soviet invasion. Tanks, missile systems, helicopters, all could be rushed across the Atlantic at unprecedented speed. And in times of crisis, the Galaxy was always there. From the 1973 Yom Kippur War, where C-5s helped resupply Israel, to humanitarian missions around the globe, the aircraft became the workhorse of American power projection. The C-5 Galaxy didn't just move cargo, it broke records. In 1968, even before entering full service, the C-5 set world records for weight lifted into the air. It carried more than 920,000 pounds in a single flight, a record that stood for decades. Its ability to carry such enormous payloads meant it could transport entire spacecraft components. The Galaxy was instrumental in carrying satellites, rockets, and even space shuttle parts for NASA. But it wasn't just about raw power. The C-5 could fly over 5,500 miles without refueling, and with aerial refueling, its range was essentially global. Few aircraft in history could claim such reach. If the C-5's reputation was built during the Cold War, it was truly tested in the wars that followed. During Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm in the early 1990s, the C-5 Galaxy was pushed to its limits. In just months, the aircraft carried nearly half of all the Army's heavy equipment sent to the Persian Gulf. Tanks, helicopters, trucks, ammunition, entire divisions moved thanks to the C-5. It wasn't just a transport, it was the backbone of American logistics. In Iraq and Afghanistan, the Galaxy once again proved essential. It delivered mine-resistant vehicles, medical supplies, and reinforcements across treacherous terrain. Yet there were setbacks. The C-5's age began to show. Mechanical issues plagued missions, and reliability rates fell below expectations. The Air Force faced a choice: retire the Galaxy or give it new life. Instead of scrapping the fleet, the Air Force chose a bold path: modernization. Enter the C-5M Super Galaxy. This upgrade replaced the old TF-39 engines with new General Electric CF-6 engines. These engines were 22% more powerful, 10% more fuel efficient, and dramatically improved takeoff performance. The modernization also included glass cockpit avionics, modern navigation and communication systems, and structural reinforcement. The result? A Galaxy that could carry more, fly farther, and operate with unmatched reliability. The C-5M quickly began breaking records again. In 2009, it set 41 world records in a single flight, including time to climb and payload benchmarks. Today, more than 50 years after its first flight, the C-5 Galaxy remains a cornerstone of American airlift power. It is not sleek, it is not stealthy, but it is indispensable. From humanitarian missions after natural disasters to delivering the heaviest weapons of war, the Galaxy embodies the ultimate principle of air power: the ability to go anywhere, anytime, carrying everything. When you see a C-5 land, the ground shakes. When its nose swings open, an army rolls out. And when it takes off, it carries not just machines, but the reach of an entire superpower. The C-5 Galaxy is more than an aircraft. It is a symbol of America's global might. As the sun sets on another mission, the Galaxy returns to the horizon, its massive frame fading into the clouds. It has carried orphans to safety, tanks to battlefields, and hope to disaster zones. For half a century, the C-5 Galaxy has been the guardian of global mobility. And as the upgraded Super Galaxy continues to soar, its legacy is far from over. This was the story of a giant, the C-5 Galaxy. You've been watching Armory Unveiled. Like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay sharp.